What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in. It's 1TS Daily right here at One True Sport. I am your host, Zack Heydorn from Brass Ring Media. I am on the road again. Look at this, man. On the streets of Chicago, got some nice Wrigley Field style ivy behind me here. And pumped to be here. Pumped to be here. Happy Friday, everybody. It is Friday. It is September 6th, 2024. And boy, do we have a lot to get to. I mean, seriously, a big weekend in professional wrestling, a big news week, not news week, but big news day yesterday with some key news that came out. And we'll talk about that here too, because this is where we do that. This is 1TS Daily. We are here every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 11 Eastern with me and you talking the news of the week in pro wrestling, the news of the day, previewing, reviewing shows, and everything in between. So thank you for being here. If you're listening on YouTube, hello. If you're on Twitter, hello. If you've downloaded this and you're a One True Sport member and you have downloaded this as a podcast, hello to you. Thanks so much for being here. I do have the live chat open right now, so you can get in the conversation as we preview All Out. Hello to Sean, who's already in there, and hello to others who are filing in right now. Sean says, "What's up, Zach? Where are you, my friend?" I am I guess I'm not on the streets of Chicago anymore, but I'm in the day job has me downtown today. And so I found a little cove with some ivy background to represent old Wrigley Field. And that's where I am. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. If you can't, let me know in the chat so I can make sure to make adjustments. But I think based on everything that I'm seeing, you should be able to hear me just fine. So thank you. But yeah, Sean says, Wrigley, baby. Yeah. Hey, comes around the precipice of maybe making the playoffs, possibly. We'll see if they can actually pull it up. But yeah, I tried to find some background since I didn't have the river today like I had yesterday. Trying to find some background that represented Chicago. And hopefully this does it. But Sean's in the live chat. Join him. I also have super chats open if you're able to make a super chat contribution to One True Sport. Helps me out, helps the show out. But really, what really helps us out most is hitting like on this video as you watch it. That is where the money's at. No, just kidding. That is how we do better in the YouTube algorithm. The more likes and engagement that we get, we can kind of get in front of new eyes to try to grow the channel, grow the show. So if you can hit like, that'd be much appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed, obviously you're going to want to subscribe to the channel. This channel has not only this show on a day-to-day basis, but it's got countless other shows, specialty shows with very talented hosts, but also some of the biggest wrestling legends that there are. Kurt Angle, RVD, Medusa, Arn Anderson. The list goes on and on and on. We just are now working with Bruiser Brody and his estate, and there's already a really cool piece of merch that dropped for him. One True Sport style. It's at onetruesport.com right now in our merch store. It's so cool. Like, it's such a cool shirt. I'm certainly going to pick one up, but you should too. It's onetruesport.com for that, and also you can find membership options there as well. I'll talk a little bit more about Brass Ring Media later on, but to keep it short and sweet right now, that's my shop. That's my shop where me and our team take a little bit more of a longer form approach to professional wrestling coverage, and I think we do a really nice job. We'll have coverage all weekend for All Out, and you can check us out on YouTube and our written work on Substack. So that's where you can find us, both free platforms. And so I hope that you go ahead and check that out. Cool. We'll get to All Out in a second, but the big news of yesterday that I want to hit is, hey, Bret the Hitman Hart is going to be back in a WWE ring. He's going to be on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. I mean, talk about a curveball, like wild curveball. I mean, I did not expect. First of all, I just did not expect WWE to pull out these kind of stops going up against Monday Night Football for the first time this year, right? I mean, normally that's a time where they kind of get creamed in the ratings. So it's like, okay, like what's the strategy here? I mean, in the Vince McMahon era, you didn't see him run away from Monday Night Football, and I think they still tried to, limit how badly they got crushed in the ratings. But they've got a pretty big show set up for Monday night, and they have it as part of WWE Week on the USA Network. They've got commercial. It's going to be limited commercial interruptions on the show. So they've got quite a bit invested in making sure Raw does a decent number opposite Monday Night Football. And I just don't know if that's a reality at this point. I mean, it's not a reality any week of the NFL season, but it's certainly not a reality like the first week of the NFL season. I mean, you got everybody invested. It's Jets against the Niners, which is a huge game. Aaron Rodgers is coming back. Eye roll. You can't see my eye roll about Aaron Rodgers because because I have sunglasses on. But Aaron Rodgers equals eye roll for a Bears fan like me. And maybe even Packers fans now that he's not on the Packers anymore. So, Bret, what does he do? What does he do on Raw? Anybody have any predictions about that? Sean is in the chat and he goes, wow, I just don't need Bret on Raw anymore. But it makes sense. Excited about Raw as a whole. Such a good show right now. Yeah, Raw has been a very good show. And they look like they want to keep the momentum on that. So this is probably a lot to do with that, just maintaining that kind of good show vibe, because it has been a good show. I would expect, here's my prediction. You got Sami Zayn and Gunther, right, on the precipice of a feud. We saw Sami confront Gunther. He wants a title shot. Gunther says no. My guess is we get some kind of Gunther Bret Hart interaction of some kind. And Sami Zayn can come save the day. That helps get to their match. That's like lowest hanging fruit for me as far as, hey, like what can they do with Bret Hart to really get the most out of him? And to me, like Bret and Gunther in the ring together for a promo, like, hey, that's it. I mean, that's a good way to utilize Bret Hart. I think it's a good way to get really strong heat on Gunther, and that's a good babyface opposite Gunther. Go and save Bret Hart. Like, that's the ultimate babyface play if you're Sami Zayn. So that's my expectation. And I think, Gunther's a guy who could get like a nice little rub from Bret. Not because Bret is like all that relevant anymore, but he certainly has value in that regard to put somebody over. And I think, I don't know. I don't know if Bret's in a position to get physical. I don't know if he's in a position to, take any bumps or even like get in some kind of submission, with Gunther. But that would be the ultimate. Like, if you have Gunther submit Bret Hart, like, hey, that's something. That's really something. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I think Sean's right in the chat. He says Gunther will get a ton of heat, which is awesome. And I think that's the goal here. I really do. And I think it's going to help build the feud between Sami Zayn and Gunther at Bad Blood. I mean, I think that's what's in the cards. All right. That's the news. We do have to get to our preview of AEW All Out. It is this weekend. It is in my backyard. Not like literally in my backyard here, but it's about 30 minutes from where I live. I will be on site for One True Sport and for Brass Ring Media, covering the show live. So you can follow me on socials. You can follow me on Twitter at Zack_Heydorn if you want my live reporting. And it'll be pictures, it'll be videos, it'll be tweets, it'll be analysis. It'll be all that fun stuff. So I think we do it right at One True Sport and at Brass Ring Media. And so if you want that live flavor of what we do, definitely drop me a follow and check out our work as the weekend goes on. But this is I don't know. I'm not sure about this card. I mean, I think that there's some good stuff on it, you know. But I think it's really, you know, when you look at the card collectively, it is very much a like C+ card is what I would say. I'd call it a C+ card. I mean, you know, the world title match is Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry. You know, not that there's anything wrong with that match. It's just on pay-per-view, like you're gonna ask people to pay $50 for that. I don't know about that. That's not like a compelling world title match. You know, the main event clearly is going to be Swerve Strickland versus Adam Page in the steel cage. It's an unsanctioned match. It's a lights out match, so it's obviously going to go on last. That's a nice hook for sure. But you know, it's also a match that people have seen a lot. And granted, they put a lot more juice behind it this time for sure. But it's like, is it worth $50? I don't know. To some people, it will be. I think they tried really hard to get it in a position that can main event, but again, you've seen that 3 other times. So it's like, okay, like, you know, I don't know that it's worth $50. And to Sean, it's not. Sean says here, I'm not getting All Out, just not sold. And monetary wise, I just can't do it. Plus, I love my college football, and that trumps it. Yeah, there you go. It's a busy weekend in college football for sure. But that's, I mean, Sean, I can see a lot of people saying exactly what you said, you know, and having the exact same opinion that you had. And, you know, understandably so, because you know, they just had a huge main event or huge pay-per-view, a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. So less than 2 weeks ago, technically. And, you know, so is it worth people's money and time to do it and to go with it? And, you know, I understand that feeling. I think it's like a C+ card. We'll start with the main event, which is Swerve versus Hangman. This match is going in the main event slot because of the stipulations, but it also, you know, is there because it has the history. I mean, that's the biggest feud on this show playing out in front of the world, right? Like, this is the big match. You know, it's the big match because it has roots, it has history. They've had previous matches together. There's a hatred there for sure. They took time to do a really big angle this week on Dynamite to like really show that this is a big match and this is a grudge match, and these two, you're going to want to see them in a cage getting the best of one another. So they've really put a lot of oomph behind this. But again, it is a match that people have seen before. And so it just depends on like how important it is for you to see this blow off match. And like, make no mistake, like, I think that's what this is. Like, this should be the last of this feud. And I think that means we're going to see a lot of violence on Saturday. I think we're going to see some really dark, twisted stuff in terms of like on the level of like, you know, drinking the other person's blood. Like, we already went there. So we have to go somewhere bigger. I surmise that fire might be involved in this due to what we saw on Dynamite with Hangman burning down Swerve Strickland's house. That, you know, tells me that might be the angle that they go to really kind of showcase the true violence of this match. I hope they don't because there's only so much you have to do. There's only so much you can do with fire that's believable. You know, I mean, it's not a thing where you could really threaten to set somebody on fire because, hey, you know, they're not going to do that. And that's a problem when you have things like fire. If there's thumbtacks out there or there's barbed wire, okay, that works because you can really drop somebody on that. And so I think that kind of violence is going to be better for this match. We've got Andrew in the chat who says here, the cage match should not require the lights out stipulation. Yeah, I mean, I guess by definition, you're right, because it is no DQ. It is anything goes. But it's mainly like, I think the stipulation is there so that it's off the books. It's not on the AEW books. It's not in the record books. It's like the fight and the match didn't happen. Like that, I think, is the lights out purpose. Not so much. I mean, it does give it a little bit of an added edge in terms of violence, but I think the real hook is the fact that, hey, this is off the books. This is off the record. This isn't really happening. To me, that's the hook in this, or for that stip. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you, man. So the big question is who wins, right? I mean, we got Sean in the chat that says Swerve has to win. Swerve, I think, has to win because he just lost to Brian. What have they not done to each other already? Yeah, I'm with you on this, Sean. I think Swerve takes this match. I mean, after what happened on Wednesday, he kind of has to. Like Wednesday, they worked hard to paint him, Swerve, as the true babyface in this. And it was a little muddy in the lead up because Swerve invaded Hangman's home. You know what? We know the story there. But in that moment, the way Swerve reacted, how upset he was, how cold and dark and calculated Hangman was, it's just kind of, you're just kind of a bad person, obviously, committing arson and doing what you did to Swerve's house. Like, you know, Swerve's a babyface. And Swerve does need the win. I mean, I still maintain that I think he is a top star in the company. He needs to be protected. If you want to get that world title back on him, you know, you want him to have wins here. Like if he's going to have a rematch with Danielson, you know, at a Wrestle Dream show perhaps, or another pay-per-view that's coming up, you've got to make sure that he's protected from a wins perspective. What does that mean for Hangman? I just don't think it matters. As bad as that sounds, like I just don't think it matters. He's been fine in this feud, and I think this new character is good for him. But I don't think he has right now the upside that Swerve Strickland has in terms of what he brings to the table. And so Swerve is the more important guy to protect and the more important guy to get the win. And that's just facts. Like he has a bigger upside. I think you've invested a lot in him monetarily. You invested a lot in him as champion. He just main evented the biggest show of the year, one of the biggest shows the company's ever had. So you protect guys like that. And I think the heel going over here and winning the feud, to me, that's not what you want as a conclusion to this story. This story concludes with Swerve winning. And I think that's what we're going to get. So I think Swerve wins this match. Let's move on to the AEW World Championship match. It's Jack Perry challenging Bryan Danielson. This has been just so flat, you guys, right? I mean, and so badly executed that going back 2 weeks where you had Jack Perry know in advance to cut a video challenging Danielson because you knew he was going to have an open challenge, but he hadn't said so yet. And it's just they got to this match in such a convoluted way. And really, he didn't put much else behind it this week on Dynamite. Jack Perry cut a promo. That was it. He cut a little promo, and Bryan Danielson said that he was going to kick Perry's effing head in. And, and scene. So, okay. Fine, I guess. Not what you want for your title match. Not what you want for Bryan Danielson. How do you not mention, if you're Danielson, that if you lose, you're done? Remember that? That was just a couple weeks. That was just 2 weeks ago where he said, when I lose this title, I'm going to be done as a full-time wrestler. And you don't bring that up at all? That's not a key part of the build here. I mean, you don't got to beat people over the head with it, but you should mention the fact that that's a thing, that's a stip, that's part of your thought process going into the match. That's got to be it. Because like eventually you're going to want to lean into that and sell it, and he's going to lose. And when that happens, you're going to want that to matter and mean something. And it just doesn't here. And it's like lowest amount of effort to get to this championship match. And yes, I understand a little bit because it's not going to be the main event. It's not the most important match on the show. I get it, but it is your world title. And you don't want to present that as less than or not the most important thing that the wrestlers have to fight for in the company. You want to put more emphasis on this title, and it just doesn't have any right now. It's clearly taking Bryan Danielson here. There's no way he loses this match, given the build that it's had, and just that he's won the title 2 weeks ago. It's just impossibly hard to believe. And whatever happens to Jack Perry happens, but Danielson is going to win this match. Ryan Blaine says European title ? Are you referencing? Not sure what you're referencing there, Ryan. Did I say European title? I don't think I did. Let me know in the chat. We'll put it back up, but let me know what you're talking about. I don't get that connection. But thanks for joining us live. Super pumped to have you here. Okay, we've got Pac against Will Ospreay for the AEW International Championship. I think this has a chance to be your match of the night. Certainly from like an in-ring perspective. Okay. Ryan, just saying hi. Hey, man, thank you. Thanks for saying hi. Thank you for being here live. I'm so happy to see you in the chat, man. Awesome stuff. Hopefully you can keep joining us live. Appreciate you. Will Ospreay versus Pac. They've tried to put some juice behind this. They've put more juice behind this match than they have Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry. That's for sure. You've had some attacks, but as good of a match as this is going to be, it's just not compelling from a outcome standpoint. Pac is a mid-card title challenger when you need him, but he's not a guy that's going to win. And he's certainly not going to win here. Will Ospreay is going to retain that championship and then move on to bigger and better things. But really good match, though. I think this has all the makings of a potential classic match, and I think this will certainly be a match that you don't want to miss on Sunday or on Saturday night if you are getting the pay-per-view. Okay, we got Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida. Camille not allowed at ringside. Another like mid-level title match here. Like it's going to be a good match. I think it was smart for AEW to put the stipulation on this that Camille cannot get involved in the match. She can't be at ringside. She's banned from ringside. I think that was smart. Going back a few weeks ago when Camille debuted, it was in this match, and it cost Shida, the match against Moné. So I think it's a proper way to follow up, but it's still, a very, very obvious match with Mercedes Moné getting the W. I expect this to be a pretty good match. Speaking of like the Mercedes Moné, and I guess her last opponent, Britt Baker, like what happened to Britt Baker? Where is she? They're not even talking. They don't even mention one thing about that match, and it was not a good match at All In. But I wonder if somebody is upset that she did that job, and so it's pouting a little bit. I'm not reporting news there. I'm just surmising what might be the case based on what we know about the participants in the match. But anyway, yeah, Mercedes Moné to beat Hikaru Shida. It's just a no-brainer, and hopefully it's a really good match. Okay, we have what will be a fatal four-way for the Continental Classic Championship or the Continental Championship. Okada defending. I don't think anybody's going to beat him. I don't think anybody's going to beat him. He is going to retain this championship no matter who is in the match with him. And we'll find out on Collision tonight. But he's not losing that match. You can bet on that. Okada to retain the title. Does this card need this match? That's the question I'd be asking myself. Does the card need the match? And I would say no. It does not. Yeah, Sean's in the chat saying it's such a meaningless title, and Takeshita better not get pinned. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get pinned. I think they're building towards Okada and Takeshita at some point, which will be a hell of a match. But in order to do that, you can't have him get pinned here. Absolutely not. Willow Nightingale against Chris Statlander in a Chicago street fight. They've been building this matchup for months and months and months. And I expect this match to be pretty good. I think Willow finally gets her W, finally gets to vanquish Chris Statlander as an opponent and maybe move on to better things. She's got to move on. She's been embroiled in this for far too long. Chris Statlander's a mid-card talent. It just doesn't make sense for her to be toiling away like this anymore. She's got way more upside, and she's she needs something else to keep things moving forward for her. So Willow gets the win here in what I think will be a really good match. The Young Bucks are going to defend their tag team titles against Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. This match made on Dynamite this week. I don't know what else to say, guys. Like, it's another Young Bucks match that's made at the last second. Not a lot of thought put into it. Not a lot of heat behind it. They're just not very relevant right now to the show. When they're on the show, they don't feel special. When they're on the show, they don't feel important. When they're on the show, they don't feel like some big time talents. And I just, you got to question whether they are that anymore. And that's an issue. That's an issue. And they're going to win. They're going to win. But as Sean says here, it's a meaningless tag team match. Fun. LOL. Yeah. I mean, not really. Not a selling point. Not a selling point, if you ask me. So there you have it. All Out 2024. Again, I will be in the building. I'll have coverage live at Zack_Heydorn on Twitter, also for Brass Ring Media, and also for One True Sport. So I'll be on the coverage for a lot this weekend. So definitely check out the work, check out our coverage of the show, and get the full analysis of what's going on from inside the building at the Now Arena here near Chicago. Thanks so much for being here, guys. I do appreciate it. Thanks to Ryan Blaine for liking and subscribing. He says, like and subscribe, people. Yes, would you please? Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a really good weekend. I hope everybody enjoys All Out. If you're ordering it, we'll review the show and some talking points coming out of it on Monday. If you haven't been to Brass Ring Media on YouTube, I hope that you go and check us out on YouTube. We have a Brass Ring Media YouTube channel. Lots of hosts, lots of people on the team doing some really good work, some fun shows. As Sean says here, Zach, I appreciate you, my friend. And BRM flagship soon. Yes, it's coming. It's coming. We've had to reschedule, and scheduling goes, man. It's crazy, but we'll have it today live this afternoon, so you guys can all check that out. It's on YouTube. Search Brass Ring Media YouTube, and you can check us out there. You can also follow us on Substack. We have a Substack newsletter where all of our written work goes, including my match ratings and report on All Out this weekend for free. So you can subscribe to Brass Ring Media on YouTube for free and on Substack for free. OneTrueSport.com. Check out that new Bruiser Brody shirt. You're going to love it. And check out the rest of our merch store as well as our membership tiers. It gives you a lot of access to some of the biggest stars. So don't hesitate. Don't wait. OneTrueSport.com. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, you guys. I appreciate it. It's been fun as always. We'll be back Monday. Same time, same place, right here on 1TS Daily at One True Sport. Have a nice weekend.